Welcome to today's webinar on the International Student Job Search. Let's look at talking about the job outlook. The economy is showing signs of growth from the fall 2008 and 2009 downturn. The hiring outlook for 2012 is positive in all regions of the U.S., with employers expecting to hire 24.2% of international students. The percentage is up over the past 2 years from when we saw the fall in the economy. International student hiring is still weak, though, and in part that's due to visa requirements. We will look at this a little bit more in a future slide. International hiring plans by year. Most of this information that we're presenting to you today comes from NACE, which is the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and looks closely at international student hiring within the United States. So that's where we're getting this information. According to NACE, we will see international hiring go up slightly over last year. However, it still is not reaching the 2007 and 2008 hiring levels. International student hiring by industry. This is where we're going to see students being picked up for hiring. Information of the employers that responded to the survey. 100% of employers said that they would be looking at hiring international students for the information sector. Close to 41% said that they would be looking to hire international students in the computer and electronics manufacturing, and so on and so forth. You can see where international hiring is going to be happening. Hiring by region. We see that hiring by region is pretty much going to grow in all regions except for the Midwest. We are going to see some drop off in the Midwest a little bit, about 4%. That is the region that we currently reside in here at the University of Oklahoma. So what this indicates is that international students should not be focusing their job search just around the Oklahoma area. They should broaden that job search and look into the coasts and move further outside of the Midwest region. Challenges. There are a lot of challenges to being an international student trying to find a job in the United States. And some of these challenges cannot be helped. However, one of the challenges is perceived hiring complexities. Employers think that hiring international students is difficult. They are fearful of the visa status. They are fearful of trying to get H-1B visas, and they don't understand how to go about that process. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, but one thing that international students can do to kind of alleviate this stress is to be very familiar with the process. Be able to talk to a possible employer and explain to them that hiring you is not as difficult as maybe they think it is. You need to be the expert when it comes to hiring you because of your visa status. Another challenge that can be helped is communication skills. And we'll look at some of the different communication barriers and international communication skills barriers in another slide. But this is something that you can become more adept with, regardless of if you're going to be trying to work in the United States or in another country that is not your home country. Understanding the communication styles of that country and of that culture will make you a better candidate. And then there's obviously employment restrictions, and that would be the H-1B cap. Over the last several years, we have seen the H-1B cap drop. And in 2003, there was 195,000 H-1B visas issued, and that has fallen off. We're now still at the 65,000 mark. So that means that of all the companies that would possibly be interested in hiring international students, only 65,000 of those positions can be filled. And those positions are going to go to companies that can show that they have trouble or are unable to hire a U.S. citizen with those capabilities. So you need to try to show how you have a skill set that maybe isn't readily available in the United States. And we'll talk a little bit more about the types of majors that they're looking for as we continue on. We're going to look at the steps to an effective job search. You want to begin with the end in mind. When you start pursuing your degree at the University of Oklahoma, you want to think about the kinds of degrees that are going to be useful in an international job search. You definitely want to do your research, know the industries that you're applying with, know the organizations that you're looking at, know what their products are, and know the market. OU Career Services does offer some tools to help you with this. You want to prepare. You want to make sure that your resume is very well written. You want to make sure that your cover letter is well written. You want to make sure that you have an understanding of communication barriers and do your work to kind of make those less of an issue. And then you want to contact employers. Do not apply for a job and expect employers to reach out to you. You need to keep in contact with them and let them know that you're still interested in working for them. And we're going to talk in depth about these steps right now. As far as beginning with the end in mind, you want to choose your major wisely. Two of the most sought after degrees from international students is going to be engineering and information technology. And the reason for that is because those are such large industries and growing fields that there are not enough American graduates to fill those voids and to fill those positions. So those types of employers are able to get H-1B visas to keep international students in the States. The technical skills is something that can definitely separate you from the pack. So if you can really develop your computer skills, your quantitative skills, and your scientific skills, that can help you because those are areas where we're needing to fill positions. Another thing would be to gain relevant experience. Try to get an internship. Try to gain knowledge on specific areas that you're interested in. That is also going to help to make you a better candidate. Do your research. You must have an understanding of immigration laws and employment eligibility. You have to be the person that knows the most about this. Like I said earlier, a lot of employers are scared or uncomfortable with bringing on international students as full-time hires. They don't understand the immigration laws, they don't understand employment eligibility, they don't understand H-1B. So if this is something that you can make them more comfortable with during the interview process, then they're probably more inclined to do some research and see if it's something their company can do. Research companies who hire international students and sponsor H-1B visas. Now we're going to talk to you about a tool here in a little bit that does have the capability to help you with this. But make sure that you're looking at companies that do sponsor students. If you are looking at trying to get on with a company that has never sponsored an H-1B visa, then they might be less inclined to sponsor one now. Whereas if you look at employers who have consistently sponsored H-1B visas, they are companies that are probably going to continue to do this in the future, and they'll be very good organizations for you to reach out to. Target organizations that do business abroad, especially with your home country. You are an expert on communicating with your home country, and this is something that American students are not going to be an expert in. So if you can show that you have all of the skills and abilities that they're needing, but you also know the language of your home country and are familiar with the communication style there, that can really set you apart from all of the other applicants. So think about organizations that work within your home country and apply to those organizations. Now, the tool that I'm going to talk to you about as far as finding organizations that recruit H-1B visas is going to be Going Global. Now, inside Going Global USA, you will see a list of organizations who have recruited H-1B visas over the last 10 years. These are the places that you need to be applying to. Now, if you get on the Hire Sooner website and see that employers are coming here, they might not be interested in you because they might not recruit international students. However, there are a ton of companies that don't come to interview on campus here, but would love to interview you and would love to consider bringing you on, even though you're an international student. You want to target those organizations, and Going Global USA can help you with that. Now, not all of you might be interested in working in the United States. Maybe you're from a country, maybe you're from Japan, but you're interested in working in England. Well, Going Global can help you figure out the types of organizations that will be looking for you in that country. Going Global also has sample resumes from each country so that you can make sure that your resume is set up the way that professionals are looking for it in their country. An example of this would be in Germany, you submit an 8x10 photo with your resume. However, in the United States, that is not okay to submit a photo with your resume. So you really want to understand the types of documents that each country is looking for when you are applying for these jobs. And Going Global and Going Global USA can really help you with this. You want to be prepared. You need to make sure that your resume is ready to go. If you're applying for a job within the United States, we here at Career Services can help you with that. We can help make sure that the documents are correct and that you're using proper grammar and using the right sentence structure. We can help you with your cover letter, and we can help you with your interviewing skills. These are 3 areas that are really going to get you in the door and hopefully get you the job. Here in our office, Career Services, we do a lot of mock interviews with international students, and that is something that you can sign up for in our office. To do that, you will send an email to oucs@ou.edu with mock interview in the subject line to schedule a time. We do mock interviews Monday through Thursday, 10:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you have a specific job that you're looking at, we can tailor that mock interview to fit that job description. So keep that in mind. As far as resume tips, these are just some brief tips to kind of get you on the right track. I would still highly suggest that you bring your resume in here and meet with us as well. But your resume should be brief. If you are an undergraduate student, your resume should be 1 page. It should not go on to a second page. If you are a graduate student working on a master's or a PhD, your resume could go on to that second page, but you do want to make sure that you keep it relevant to the position that you're applying for. You want to explain your skills. Being able to speak English and another language is something you want to highlight. You want to talk about familiarity with working and living abroad and being able to adapt to various cultures, which you have been able to prove by going to school here at the University of Oklahoma and being from another country. You want to be able to show your communication skills, and you want to show how you're able to communicate with other U.S. citizens very well. That is one thing that employers are a little wary of, is bringing on an international student who maybe doesn't have strong English speaking skills. So you want to show them that you do have strong English speaking skills. Translate your educational experience. A lot of times the GPA or the grade point average is figured differently by different institutions in different countries, make sure that you translate your GPA to the 4.0 scale, because that's how employers in America know how to read it. Provide a frame of reference for unfamiliar accomplishments. Example, that you attended the #1 research institution in China. Don't just list the name of the institution that you went to in China, because that is not going to be familiar to a hiring manager. However, if they can see the name of the organization, and then you have also told them that it's the #1 research institution, that's going to be very impressive to them. Highlight your English and communication courses that you've completed. Emphasize your cultural background if it's relevant to the company. And I also just want to let you know about a program that we provide through our website, Optimal Resume. Do not go to optimalresume.com. You're going to want to go to hiresooner.com and then click on Optimal Resume in the boxes on the right-hand side. That is a program that will help you to develop your resume. Like I said, this is a starting point. You still need to come in and meet with us so that we can tailor your resume to present you in the best way. On your resume, you do not want to include personal information like your age or your marital status, your social security number, religion, birth date, or a personal photo. These are not acceptable in the U.S. Now, however, these kinds of things are acceptable in other countries, and going global can help you figure out how to tailor your resume for those countries. Do not include your TOEFL scores, and do not include your employment status. You will talk about your employment status in the cover letter. And the reason for that is you want to make sure to be able to sound very familiar with immigration laws and kind of give them a little bit of extra information. If it's just on your resume, they might be more inclined to just push it aside. You don't want to include any irrelevant information. Be wary of using generic templates. That's why we've provided Optimal Resume for you. Be wary of making your resume too long or too hard to read. And these are things that we can help you with if you come in and talk to us. Interviewing tips. You really want to do your homework. You need to know about the organization that you're interviewing with and be ready to talk to them about what you can offer them. Be aware of cultural barriers and be ready to educate the employer on visa requirements and how to renew a visa. Be ready to explain the advantages of hiring you and why you're the best candidate for the job. And once again, do not divulge personal information such as marital status or your age in the interview. In America, employers do not get to know information like that. That is illegal for them to know. So you don't have to tell them those types of things. Be very aware of nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is one of the most important, if not the most important part of an interview. So being aware of nonverbal cues that are acceptable within the culture that you are interviewing is very important. I can speak to here in the United States, people maintain a lot of eye contact here. So if you're somebody that's maybe uncomfortable with eye contact, that might be something you want to work on because it is expected in an interview here. However, in another culture, in another country, that might not be the case. Be aware of your physical distance. Some people like to speak very closely and some people want about a 3-foot distance when they're speaking. Your appearance, your dress, be very aware of hygiene, stuff like that. And just make sure to mimic the culture that you are interviewing in. Manners, handshake, your posture, how you're sitting and reacting to the things that the interviewer says. Being prepared for these types of things will really help you to be successful in the interview process and possibly land you the job. After the interview, it is expected that you send a handwritten thank you note. And the reason for this is because It thanks the interviewer for the time that they took to interview you, but it also lets them see that you have very strong follow-through skills. If you send a thank you note, that shows them that maybe you can be relied on for other tasks and follow through with them as well. Practice makes perfect. Signing up for those mock interviews that I talked about earlier will help you. Maybe you're a strong interviewer and you'll do one mock interview and you'll be ready to go. Or maybe interviewing is something that makes you very nervous, and we can help you through several different interviews. We can sit down with you and go over them 3 or 4 times. So please come and talk to us about that. That's what we're here for. If you are a student at the University of Oklahoma, you have access to a Hire Sooner account, which is www.hiresooner.com. Now, Hire Sooner is going to have ways for you to reach out to employers. We have the career fairs. We also have our library in our office. And then we also have the employer database, which is in hiresooner.com. These resources will allow you to reach out to employers and start to develop a relationship with them and build up your network. These are very important things for you to do. Also, going global. I can't emphasize enough how much that can help you in your international job search. Market yourself positively. Be excited about the job search. Don't make it look like this is something that's very stressful for you, that you're not looking forward to. Be excited about it. Once again, you must understand the visa process. Expand your job search and be flexible. If you are looking just in the state of Oklahoma, you are not going to have as much luck as if you are open to the entire United States or if you're open to the entire world. So I would suggest opening your market and seeing what kind of opportunities come your way. Larger firms tend to be more willing to hire international students because they're able to get H-1B visas, and U.S. firms with branches abroad. Once again, look for opportunities in your home country. Improve your communication skills by taking communication classes and joining student organizations, and network with faculty, friends, and alumni to hear about opportunities that are in your area of study. Professional organizations can also help you with this. Here are some of the common cultural barriers that we see international students struggle with a lot, and one is self-promotion. Not just international students struggle with this. This is something we see a lot of recent graduates struggle with, and it's explaining to the employer why you are a good candidate to hire, why they should consider bringing you on. While it is good to be humble, the interview process and the resume writing process are not the place for that. You need them to understand what you have to offer. Directness in communication. Look people in the eye when you talk to them. Make sure that you are direct with them and that they are understanding what you're saying. Self-disclosure is a common cultural barrier. In America, you do not have to let them know things like how many children you have or your religious affiliation. Those are things that you don't have to let a hiring agency know about. Career self-awareness. Be aware of how you respond when you're in the interview process. Individual responsibility in finding employment. Nobody else can find you a job except for you. So you need to take this opportunity to really start to reach out to employers and make sure that they understand what you have to offer to their organization. Informality in the interview process. In America, the interview process is very formal. You'll wear a suit. You'll wear a tie if you're a man. You'll wear collared shirts. Make sure that you are treating the interview process with the formality that is expected. Punctuality, that is also another big thing in America. You want to be on time even early to an interview, at least 10 to 15 minutes early to an interview. And I would suggest allowing yourself even more time to find the correct location, make sure that you're comfortable when you get there. So just be aware of that. Effective letters of application and resume. Like I said, please come in and talk to us about this. Individual equality, men and women are treated the same in the hiring process, so just be aware of that. And knowledge of the organization prior to the interview. This is the research you're going to do to make sure that you're familiar of their products, you're familiar with their services, you're familiar with how they conduct business. So here's some frequently asked questions that I'm going to just touch on. Should I include my visa status on my resume? No, you want to include your visa status in your cover letter. That will allow you to write a little bit more about it and make sure that they understand that you have an understanding of how the visa status works and that this is not something that they should be aware or worried about. What questions are illegal for an employer to ask? There are a lot of different types of questions that are illegal for an employer to ask, but the main ones that you want to be aware of is that they cannot ask what ethnicity you are. They cannot ask what religion you are. They cannot ask if you're married or if you have children. Those are not the types of things that they're allowed to ask. They can, however, ask if you're going to need sponsorship to work in the United States, okay? They can ask that if at any point you'll need to be sponsored. If a company says that they don't hire international students, should I even apply? And this is a personal decision for you. If they haven't hired international students in the past, they might not be looking to start hiring international students right now because the H-1B cap is so low. However, it's up to you. You never know. They might make an exception. So this is a personal decision that you'll have to make. Right here, I've listed some resources for you. Obviously, we also have some resources in our office that we would be happy to help you with, and you can come in and make appointments with us or call our office and set up a time to meet with us. So please, come in, talk to us, look at these websites, check out Going Global, and keep in touch with us. Now, I am going to let you know that we are answering questions, and we have ISS, International Student Services, here helping us answer questions as well. There are a lot of questions that Career Services is incapable or unable to answer. So ISS, or International Student Services, is a place that you need to be going to regularly and making sure that you understand what it means to be an international student, okay? Claudia Schaff, who's an assistant director in our office, works closely with the international students on their job search, so she's kind of a way for you to come in and kind of figure out what you need to do, but any of our assistant directors are happy to meet with you. I'm done with the presentations. I just want to thank you for attending the webinar today.